was like I listen to Qatar to develop their economy, regardless the political affairs. Now
Yeah.
they started to do this, so the economy started to grow again, and there will be normal relationship between all GCC countries and also Egypt. The situation is normal now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rami.
Welcome.
Uh, there is a question actually from the participant that can you I think this question is for Mr. Ahmadur. You mentioned quite extensively on the entry strategy, and I think one of the entry strategy in international business is turnkey project. Yeah? Turnkey project, and as far as we understand that there are several successful turnkey projects in UAE. Uh, could you please just explain a little bit about this turnkey project or contract manufacturing in UAE specifically by giving examples, Mr. Ahmad?
Yes, turnkey project is definitely a very important way how companies can expose themselves to foreign markets. Yeah, I mean, in particular, I can tell you a lot of construction companies came into this market using this method. Before 2008, if you remember, between 2003, when the construction boom started happening in UAE, they started building very rapidly, so that is when they ran out of contractors, and usually you could find here mostly European contractors or American contractors for infrastructure and those projects. And then suddenly there was shortage of contractors. They started bringing contractors from Far East, from Japan, from China came in much later. Malaysia, that's when Malaysia came in. Our big names like WCT, UEM, there were a few other companies as well. They came in and got many of the big projects here. Also, some for the metro project. I remember now for the metro stations, one of the company did around 10 of the metro stations in Dubai. So they all came through basically international projects that were open to international companies. You see, for construction projects, you need to have a local office here in order to do your project here. But some of the international projects, they are announced globally, and companies, even without having a local presence here, they can bid for those projects, and they are allowed to participate in those tenders, but on the condition that once they get the project, they have to set up an office here. So that's how most of the companies came in. But unfortunately, after 2009, after the financial crisis, Dubai was going through a very difficult time, and there were a lot of payment issues, and ultimately some of the companies could not be, some of the projects were not sustainable anymore, and they had to be stopped halfway, and some payment issues, some of the companies had left. But yes, that was how a lot of the Malaysian companies were active in this market. If you can if you go into Dubai, you will see a lot of the iconic buildings and structures where there will be Malaysian, presence. So yes, I think I hope that answered my question. Answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ahmadul. Okay, there is another question attended to Mr. Rami. You mentioned that Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world. What are the specific strategy that are being carried out to reach that particular position?
Again, please. A specific strategy for what?
You mentioned, you show in the slides that Qatar is one of the highest in terms of GDP, richest country in the world. What are the specific strategy, okay, that is being developed or operationalized by the Qatari government to reach to that particular position?
Yes. Actually, if you will observe Qatar performance along with the last 10 years, and before the blockade happened, Qatari government focused on investment overseas. So you will find a lot of mini projects overseas, like buying a hotel chain in UK, for example, some also hospitality entities in USA, something like this. Once the blockade happened, they changed their mind totally. So they try to focus on the local market now. So they gradually will inject some funds to develop the local community. They want to get the qualified people from overseas to come to Qatar to make partnership with the Qatari companies to start, for example, number one, to start to manufacture some products in Qatar. They will provide some facilities for this. Number two, they will try to do themselves as like financial hub for the international companies, the companies interested to do business in, especially in financial sector. They invest some of the funds in IT solution, especially IT solution and innovations. They started to inject some of such as this kind of funds, for example, in Qatar Foundation. Because as I mentioned, in my presentation, you will find, for example, Science Park under Qatar Foundation. They want to attract the qualified scientific people from over the world to come to Qatar here and they make JV with the specialized Qatari companies. They have the money. They wanted to use this money in a proper way. So they will allocate of this fund, some of funds to develop this scientific revolution in Qatar. So if you have an idea, for example, you can come propose this idea to Science Park under Qatar Foundation here. If they will approve it, they give you the money to carry out your idea here in Qatar. So they will work on 3 levels to invest in Qatar instead of allocating money to invest overseas. They will develop the economic infrastructure in Qatar. This is why they already accomplished Qatar Free Zone area. And in cooperation with our trade commissioner in Dubai, Mr. Omar, we are trying to, for example, to make some kind of cooperation with Qatar Free Zone area to present the Qatar Free Zone to some potential Malaysian companies to come to see the potential opportunities here in Qatar. Also, if you are concerned with if you have like new proposal regarding a mobile application, computer applications, any new applications, you are welcome. You can come and propose the application here. There are some certain places like, as I mentioned, Qatar Foundation, Qatar Development Bank. You can go in joint venture with a local Qatari company and you can get some fund from this organization here in Qatar to start your projects. And especially after Viva World Cup, this will be the new trend to them. they want to attract qualified people to come and to do their projects here in Qatar. I think there are many Malaysian companies, they are qualified to do this. We are searching for such as this kind of Malaysian companies which are able to support their know-how and the technology. This will be the future here.
Dr. Amir, I just want to add one point from Mr. Rami. This is my observation. Aviation hub is also important because you can see how Dubai prosper being an aviation hub for Emirates, and now Doha is also trying very hard to be the aviation hub for the region too. And then the second one is actually free trade zone. For example, Jabal Ali is very much popular in UAE as another transshipment hub, and Qatar is also replicating that. So this is from my observation, because they put a proposal to Malaysia to have a dedicated free trade zone in Qatar for Malaysia. Just to add to Mr. Rami feedback.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rami and Mr. Mansur.
Thank you.
There is another question here. What is Madrid's future growth strategy? What is I've seen a lot of activities, a lot of development, evolutions for Madrid for so many years, and I believe that there is no such country compared to Malaysia that have this kind of facilitation, assistance to SMEs, companies, so what is the future for Madrid actually, especially for small micro entrepreneurs? We are talking about that.
Okay, all right. Madrid just concluded our national trade blueprint. It has been tabled to the cabinet. Under the national trade blueprint, is a 1-year study, and under one of the initiative under the national trade blueprint is actually the Jawat. It's a Malay JKX, Jawatan Kuasa Export committee, chaired by KSN, our chief secretary. This is actually to coordinate all trade promotion activities of all ministries in this country. This is actually to ensure that any trade promotion activities will be strengthened and give big impact. Because previously, when there is a program, a few ministries going for the same program, which does not create a big impact. So in order to consolidate and cement this trade promotion program, so the government has agreed to establish this Jawatan Kuasa Export Committee, chaired by our Secretary General, Tan Sri Zuki. Secondly, we are focusing on digitalization, digitalization, because you know that that is the way forward in order to get information, fresh information at hand. So every information must be up to date, current, and because of that, Madrid has embarked on our Madrid digitalization program. So we have a few initiatives where if you need information about primary data, then it's coming from Madrid. If you need secondary data, it can come from our subscribed data, which is very current, giving the trend and so forth. The number 3 is sustainability. You know that a few shipment of Malaysian products has been stopped in US because of these sustainability issues, labor issues, environment issues. So we are actually going to champion that for exporters, in order to make sure that our